Hello and welcome to Real Opinions, and today I'm going to be reviewing Pixar's new film, Coco. So Coco is set in Mexico, and it tells the story of a young boy named Miguel. So Miguel is enamored with this mid-20th century pop star named Ernesto de la Cruz. Miguel sees him as like the coolest guy in the world. He wants to be him, he wants to follow in his footsteps and pursue a musical career of his own. The only problem with that is that Miguel's family has put a generations-wide ban on music because somewhere down the lineage, I think it's his great-great-great-grandmother or something, was abandoned by a musician and left to raise the family on their own. So out of spite, they put a ban on music entirely. There's no music because it is seen as like a direct opposition to family values. So like, you can't have that, it's bad. And Miguel, because as kids do, if you ban a kid from doing something, then that's the thing they want to do the most, and he needs to be a musician, and the more his family tell him he can't be, the more he has to sneak off and do it in his own time, the more magical and dreamlike it becomes, and so he has to do it. This leads him to steal his idol's guitar from a mausoleum on the Day of the Dead, which is a bad thing, because he's disturbed this place of rest on such a sacred day. He is transported to the land of the dead. He arrives at this supernatural wonderland, but it turns out he's got a day in order to get his family's blessing so he can return back home. That is all I want to say, because it's a Pixar film, so it's very narrative driven. But yeah, it's basically about Miguel travelling through this fantasy land, trying to find his way back to the family that he was originally trying to escape from. This film has got a lot of love, actually. A lot. People have been throwing 5 stars around everywhere, talking about how great it was, how emotional it was, how much it affected them on a deeply personal level. And I wouldn't go that far, but I would say it is good. For me, it was kind of middle of the Pixar canon, you know, mid-tier. A decent way to explain how I feel about this film is it's the inverse of Up. Up opens with this absolutely devastating 10 minutes, and then kind of settles into a serviceable but not great adventure film, and Coco is just the other way around. It's a serviceable but not great adventure film that just culminates in this absolutely heartbreaking moment, which is good. It's good. I did enjoy it, and I would watch it again. What I liked about it were firstly the visuals. I thought it was stunning to look at, particularly some of the environmental stuff looked weirdly photo-real. Just little details like bottles on tables, and particularly items that they would sort of do close-ups on. I thought they were stunning. And then when you get into the land of the dead, not only is it stunning from just a sort of technical level, but also in terms of design. It looks beautiful. I also thought there were some clever visual gags, and the lore and the world of the land of the dead I thought was done really nicely. I thought as well that the way that it explored Mexican culture worked really well, made it feel distinct, and that was good too. My flaws with it were really to do with, I thought, a very draggy opening act that was filled with exposition and just felt kind of stop-starty. Like, I kept thinking, when is this really gonna kick into gear? It took forever to get to that, to a place where it felt like it had real momentum for me. That momentum arrived about halfway through. Luckily, I think it's saved by a gut-punching final 10 minutes. When I say a film is emotional, it doesn't necessarily mean that it made me feel emotions. Like, it's very hard to move me. Not many films do. And so when I say, like, something's emotional or something made me feel sad, it's less that it actually, you know, affected me, and more that I kind of looked at it and recognised how someone could find that emotional. I guess what I'm trying to say is, usually when I say a film is emotional, I don't mean that it had an impact on me, because I am like stone, but I mean it more in the sense that I could see how other people might feel emotional. Basically, I'm saying I recognise feelings, and I know where I should feel them.
I'm having feelings again. Like some kind of 14-year-old kid or something. I mean, you remember feelings, right?
Yeah, I have feelings every single day of my life.
Do you?
Are you saying you don't have feelings?
Well, I'm saying I built up a shell. A shell around myself. A cold, calculated, heartless shell.
But in this case, the last 10 minutes did actually get to me. I thought they were really beautiful. and said something kind of profound. Not like, I'm not saying Coco changed my view on death, which is what this whole ending sort of relates to. But I thought for a kids' film it had a nice message and explored like legacy and things like that in a way that was positive and that made me sort of feel good. It has a fantastic cathartic ending, a truly cathartic ending, and the music is good too. The music plays a crucial part, not only in the story, but in that ending in particular. And all I'll say is that the song Remember Me is going to win an Oscar. Not only because it's a good song, but it ticks all those Academy boxes. It is played several times, which basically guarantees it, because the voters at the Academy will be like, I remembered that one because they played it more than once. Secondly, it's used in an emotional context, which just means it's got the award. You look at other winners for Best Original Song, and it's never fun, upbeat, melodic songs. It's always ones that kind of go for emotion, and that's what Remember Me does. But I think it works. I think it's a really good song, and whilst it's not going to go on to be like Let It Go, because it's not catchy, it is still a really powerful piece of music. Now, I have another point that I'm going to say for a spoiler section, so if you haven't seen Coco and you want to see Coco, stop here. Basically, I wanted to talk about another problem I had that I didn't really feel I could talk about in the non-spoiler section. And that is to do with the amount that this film recycles other things from past Pixar films. That's not to say that they can't, that every Pixar film has to be thoroughly original. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is there were so many moments where I thought that is exactly like X. The villain is basically a character that the protagonist idolised as a child and then meets and realises he's a jerk. There is a tragic death scene about someone or something being forgotten and therefore passing away basically into dust. The main villain is exposed when he's in the middle of a megalomaniacal rant that basically sort of functions as a confession because it is caught on camera or there are spectators. Those were the main ones that I thought of, but it did just diminish the film slightly because it felt like they were very specific things that Pixar were reusing. They still work. All of those things still had their sort of the effect that they had in the films that I mentioned, but it just felt a bit like, come on Pixar, we all love you, but you can't just keep just following the same beats. So yeah, I really liked the film. I thought Michael Giacchino did a great job, and I think that Pixar are still among the best at what they do, especially when it comes to consistency. This film, to say that this film didn't blow me away like other Pixar films is by no means a particularly harsh criticism, because it is still miles ahead of things like, I don't know, The Boss Baby or even the Lego movies as far as I'm concerned. This was mature, worked for adults, had a nice message, explored themes in a way that didn't feel dumbed down or patronising. It's definitely something people should support, and it's Pixar, of course, they're going to support it.